Think your credit is standing between you and home ownership? You are not alone. I can't tell you how many people I encounter that think that they will never be able to qualify for a mortgage because of their credit. Today, we're going to separate fact from truth and talk about some ways that you can put yourself in a better financial position before buying a home. Hi, I'm Ann Hill. I'm a realtor and I serve North Texas. Whether you're buying, selling, building, or relocating, my goal is to help you make confident, informed real estate decisions so you can put yourself in the best position as you're navigating the real estate market. And today I'm here with Shawn Lane, who is a credit expert, and we're going to talk about all things credit. So Shawn, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me today. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. I love this topic of credit, and so I'm happy to share, some knowledge and hopefully help some folks get closer to their goal of homeownership.
Awesome, awesome. So Shawn, before we jump in, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business and what led you down the path of making credit improvement your career.
We were in telecom for many years, and we made decent money, but I never loved what we did. And it wasn't until I started this business in 2013 that I realized this is my purpose. I just love helping people achieve their goals. So many times people think that maybe home ownership is out of reach for them, but two things can fix everybody's credit: time and education. So just getting on the right path can be life-changing for people. So it's very fulfilling to be able to help somebody like you become a homeowner.
Yes, yes. And then in you helping me, I found my passion and purpose with helping customers with real estate. So yeah. So Shawn, who is your customer? Is the majority of people that are enrolling in your program looking to purchase a home?
I would say 95% of our customer base is referred by folks like you, realtors, mortgage loan officers. People don't wake up and decide to buy credit repair. They buy a solution to the problem that they're facing. Yes, we work with people who are trying to, get approved for a loan, whether it's a business loan, maybe it's an auto loan, but the majority of our people are coming to us because they want to buy a house. And as you know, buying a home is one of the ways that people can generate wealth in this country. When you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage,
Right.
and so it's there's definitely a place for renting, but there's also a place where it becomes time to buy so that you can own a home, and then maybe even down the road, you can become the landlord.
That's right. That's right. So Shawn, I meet a buyer. That buyer already knows that they're in a predicament. They need your help. They need your expertise. They sign up, they call you, they schedule a consultation. What should they expect?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to review their credit report. We're going to do a full credit analysis. So most likely we're going to send them to Smart Credit, which will give them a 3-bureau credit report along with their credit score. And it's a soft credit pull, so it doesn't hurt them. And it only costs $1 for a 7-day trial. So we're going to ask them to get us that fresh, up-to-date credit report. It takes 2 minutes to get that online. We're going to go through that line by line, review what their situation is, and then get back on the phone with them and kind of walk them through what we see, where the opportunities are for credit improvement, both with deleting negative items and building positive credit. And then we're going to talk to them about whether or not they're a good candidate. Why wouldn't they be a good candidate today? Well, maybe they're currently past due on some of their obligations. Okay, I'm not saying they're in default yet. I'm just saying they're 30 days late on this credit card and 30 days late on their auto loan. Unless they have the ability to get those caught up, we're not going to sign them up for credit repair today. We're going to give them some solid advice. Do this, do that, catch that up, and then call us back, in a month or two. But yeah, that's it. We definitely don't want to enroll somebody if we can't move the credit score.
Right, right. Appreciate that. And I know people do too. Just having that honest feedback, whether or not they're a good candidate for the program. So,
Yep, for sure.
So Shawn, let's jump into some of the biggest questions that buyers have. So how does your credit actually impact you buying a home?
Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is that your credit score doesn't get you approved, it gets you declined. Okay,
Okay.
what I mean by that is you might have the best credit score possible, but maybe you have some other issues with debt to income and that type of thing. Or maybe the credit is low, but you have great income and a good debt to income ratio. So the credit score is kind of the gateway. You have to know what your credit score is. The lender has to know so that they can decide if they're going to put you through the next steps. Okay, so that's why I say the credit score doesn't get you approved, it gets you declined. You don't even make it through the next process if your credit score isn't where it needs to be.
Interesting feedback from you on that. So, does your program help people get in a position to qualify, whether it's debt to income ratio, that's the issue, or just that, like you mentioned, low credit score, great income? Do you have solutions for both of those scenarios?
Well, we're definitely credit repair
Okay.
first in helping people improve their credit. But when it comes to things like student loans can have some significant impact to a borrower's debt to income ratio, which could, significantly reduce the amount of home they can qualify for.
Mhm.
But there's some strategies out there with student loan consolidation or getting on an income-based repayment plan that can lower those monthly obligations so that maybe that will help them get in a better position with their debt to income.
Right. Shawn, you mentioned student loans. I see a lot of buyers in my own personal business that believe student loans are holding them back from being able to qualify for a mortgage. So if someone has student loans, what would you say or share with them in terms of their ability to be able to move forward with purchasing a home because of those loans?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you could absolutely buy a home with student loans. It depends on the condition of the student loans. Are they being paid? Are they not being paid? Are they late? Or are they not late? Maybe they've been current all along, but it's the debt to income calculation that's holding them back from being able to buy a home because the debt is too high. And so, we can touch on each of those situations. If their student loans have always been current, so never late, but it's a debt to income issue, there are some possibilities of maybe being put on a income-based repayment program with Fed Loan or the U.S. Department of Student Loans, being on an income-based repayment program, which will lower those monthly payments. Okay, a lot of people keep their student loans in a deferment. And when they do that, the lender has to apply, I think, 1% of the loan value on a monthly basis against their debt to income. So that's one thing. Now, if their student loans have been late in the past, 9 million Americans ended up being reported late on their student loans a year ago when they came out of COVID deferment. As we know, student loans were deferred for 4 years. And so there's strategies to get those back on track and get the late payments removed. Maybe their student loans are in default, meaning they haven't made payments in a long time. They can go through the federal student loan rehabilitation program. So the biggest thing is let's look at it. Okay. Either have your lender look at it or send them to us so that we can take a look at it and just see what the situation is.
Right, right. I think so many people just don't understand how some of this works behind the scenes, and they just assume
That's right.
that they're not going to be able to move forward. But I love that you guys, again, part of the name of your business has solutions that try to it. So I love that you have solutions to help people overcome these challenges so that they can move forward.
Absolutely. And again, we love doing this because it helps people achieve their goal.
So what's the biggest misconception people have about credit?
I think it's that the credit score doesn't tell the whole story. Just because someone may have a low credit score, it doesn't mean that they can't buy a house soon. Okay, because it could be that the low score is caused by maybe they don't have revolving credit, or maybe they have one credit card, one revolving line of credit, and it's maxed out. And so, it could be that they're not very far away from being able to qualify, even though their score is low. Or they could have a really good score, but there's other things keeping them from being able to buy a house, okay? Such as, maybe their student loans are in default, or their debt to income is out of whack because of their student loans. And so the credit score doesn't tell the whole story. We need to look at it so we can decide what is the plan to get them to their goal.
Right, right. So, Shawn, believe it or not, I worked with a buyer last year that had no credit. And he was not right out of college. But for someone in that position, what would be a good strategy that a borrower could employ to help establish credit for the first time?
Well, I think the first thing would be look at the credit report to make sure there's nothing negative on there. Okay, because believe it or not, some folks that are in there, maybe they're 18 to 22 years old, they might have something negative. Maybe it's an apartment debt issue or a utility bill or something while they're, living on their own. But as far as establishing credit, ideally you want to have at least 3 revolving lines of credit or credit cards and at least 1 installment loan. And so, the best thing somebody could do that truly doesn't have anything negative, they just don't have a credit score, get a secured credit card. I would recommend Capital One or Discover because both of those secured credit cards will graduate to unsecured. So a secured credit card is when you put up $200 in a secured bank account, that becomes your credit limit. And then you charge against that $200, but you got to keep that balance very low. Keep that balance below $20 a month, below 10% of the credit limit to score highest. There's lots of secured credit cards out there, but I like to set somebody up for the long term. So I like to get them a secured card that's going to convert to unsecured, because somebody that is building credit today and they get a little secured credit card, in 5 years, they're not going to want that low quality card on their credit report anymore. Okay. But getting one that converts like Navy Federal, Discover, or Capital One, all 3 of those will graduate to unsecured. It's just a better trade line or credit line to put on somebody's credit report.
Sounds like what you just described might be good as far as developing practices to be financially responsible as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing about credit cards is that credit cards aren't bad. Credit card debt is bad, right? And so we need to have credit cards to score well, but we have to keep those balances extremely low so that it doesn't impact our credit score, and so credit cards are a tool. It's a much safer tool to use a credit card than a debit card, okay? But don't spend money you don't have.
Right. That's the key.
Yep.
So, Shawn, for someone that feels like they either don't have the money to invest in credit repair or they feel like they can just do it themselves, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people as they're trying to improve their own credit make?
Gosh, there's a lot of them, but I'm going to kind of give you the top 3.
Okay.
The first, I think, is going back and paying debts without understanding the repercussions of that. So yes, it's always the right thing to do to go resolve a defaulted debt. But if you're paying a debt collector, you don't want to pay a debt collector without an agreement for a deletion from your credit report, because paying a debt collector can lower your mortgage credit score. Okay, so that's the first thing. Don't just arbitrarily begin paying things, even though it's the right thing to do. The second is people who pay off their credit cards and then close them. We do not want to close credit cards because closing a credit card is really going to impact your credit score. So yes, pay them off, keep them open. Okay. And I think the third thing, or the third mistake, is waiting to look at their credit once they find a house. Okay. They've got to start this process early. Let's go to a lender, right? So that they know where they stand. Let's get them into credit repair. Let us look at their credit report for free. We do that every day, so let's not wait till you find a house and you're under contract. Let's go ahead and look at things first to see if you're in the position to be looking.
I love that. I think the other thing that, I see a lot of buyers doing is they say, okay, well, I looked at Credit Karma. My score is 700. And then when they apply, their their score is actually 600, not 700. So, what would you say to a buyer that's in that predicament where they're looking at some of these different websites and they think they know what their credit score is, but they have no clue?
Well, and this gets into the confusion behind credit scores, but Credit Karma uses a Vantage credit score.
Okay.
It is not a mortgage FICO credit score. Okay. And so there's really two brands of credit scores, like Coke and Pepsi. There's FICO that everybody's heard of, and then there's a Vantage, which is a competing scoring model. The good news is mortgage is beginning to accept a Vantage score. Very few lenders today, but in a year from now, a lot of mortgage, folks are going to be able to consider a FICO or a Vantage credit score. But today, in most cases, Credit Karma is not an accurate, depiction of what your mortgage FICO score is, because it's just a different model. It's a different scoring model. And so it's a good guide to see what's on your report. Do you have anything negative? How are you doing? But most of the time, it's not being used in mortgage underwriting. So you need to look at a mortgage credit score.
Right. Do you believe that someone, let's say I meet a new client, I introduce them to my lending partner. The lending partner looks at their credit profile and says, we can get you qualified. Do you see any advantage with somebody that has a low score still having a conversation with you to maybe help them get to that next tier so that they can qualify for a better interest rate?
Absolutely. But again, it depends on where are they at in the process. Do you have a home under contract, and then the lender can get them approved? Let's let that happen. Interest rates are going to come down eventually, so they can always refinance it in the future.
Yeah.
Now, if they're just beginning the journey, okay, it might make sense to let us take a look at it, because in a couple of months' time, we can move the needle and get the score improved so they can qualify for a better loan program.
Right.
So the last thing I want to do is interrupt the sale, right, of somebody's, the purchase of the home, so we want to fit into that. So if your lender can approve them and they've already got something picked out, I'd say go for it.
So how long does credit improvement typically take? If someone were to, let's say, schedule a consultation with you, you see some areas where you know that you can get them a higher score, or at least to where they can qualify for a mortgage. How long does that process typically take?
Unfortunately, it depends.
Okay.
Okay. And let me explain that. So when we dispute something on a credit report, okay, the dispute resolution process, which is outlined in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, gives the credit bureaus and the banks, the furnishers of information, the companies that report to the credit bureaus, the Fair Credit Reporting Act gives them 30 days to investigate and respond. Okay. And so depending on how many negative items they have, it could be a long process. Or, if they have maybe one thing and it's an easy thing to get removed, we can see errors. It might happen within a 45-day time frame. So it really depends on the situation. But the good news is you don't need to have a perfect credit score to buy a house.
That's right.
And so they might have a lot of negative items, but if we get one or two removed that are having the most impact to their credit score, and we give them some positive credit building tips, it could be a couple of month program.
Right.
So we just need to look at it and see.
Makes sense. Shawn, thank you so much for your expertise today. I've learned a lot. It's been several years since I was in need of your program, because I wanted to personally take that first step towards home ownership. I know you've helped thousands of people, I'm sure, start their journey down the path of home ownership. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share today, share your program, share some things that people can put into practice, and ultimately just offer your services for our viewers today.
Well, like I said at the beginning, I love this topic of credit. Credit holds so many people back. And so I'm very happy to share the knowledge that we've learned over the years to help people achieve their goals.
I hope this conversation encouraged you to remember that your current credit situation does not necessarily define what's possible in the future. If you have questions about buying a home, improving your credit, or where to begin, don't wait until you think you're ready. Reach out and let's connect you with the right professionals to help you create a plan. If you found this video helpful, Please subscribe for our weekly home buying tips designed to help you make confident, informed real estate decisions. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.